What is going on YouTube? We are out here in Dallas, Texas, showing people the view. And we're gonna get cracking. Nice little interview with my boy Kyle. And that's your name, right, Kyle?
Yeah, that's what he...
Let's get it cracked.
Alright, hold on. Put on 0.5.
I don't know if you usually edit.
I got an editor.
You are.
No, I send it to an editor.
Send it to an
and
editor.
he
Okay.
chop it up for us.
There's a lot of stuff, dude. I swear, some of the raw, just like back and forth stuff where it's not perfect. I think people like that. At least that's how that watches. Yeah, dude. But let's get right into it.
Be cool.
Yeah, so let's roll.
Raw. So cool.
Is it worth it for the background or no?
I'm cool with it. It'll just depend
We'll
on
do like
audio.
we'll do like 10 minutes, maybe 12. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If it's too cool, we can go back in it.
Yeah.
But, sweet. So, just out here gonna do a little podcast action. Normally on my podcast, or my YouTube, I should say, I talk fitness, faith, and overall just mindset. Because truly, like, I think so many people hold themselves back from achieving their ideal physique. That's the name of my coaching program: Achieve Your Ideal Physique.
Yeah.
And I think people also hold themselves back from achieving their ideal life because they just don't take risks, they don't follow through on their passions, and that's really what I like to just like flow into my content.
Yeah.
So really just want to use this time and like ask you some questions here about your journey and kind of go back and forth. Let's start with like what's your background in fitness? How'd you get into this?
Yeah, okay, so my background in fitness is played sports my whole life. Loved it. Went to college, played football.
Also, should we turn our chairs so that we're like kind of facing?
Can.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so my background in fitness is played sports, football, ran track, did that whole thing. Did it in college for 2 years. I found CrossFit when I was 18, and it was one of those moments where it was like a light bulb moment for me. I was like, oh wow, I like this a lot. Like I'm gonna do this forever. And I remember realizing like, okay, so you can do burpees and make money from doing burpees, like 100% I'm doing that. And so I went to college, played for 2 years, and then I decided not to play sports anymore, just pursue CrossFit. Have been pursuing that for the past, since I was 20 till now, I'm about to be 32. Competed all over the world, Dubai, South Africa, I've been in London, like just had such a good time. Competed at like professional level, but the thing is with that sport, there's no like professional level. Like you don't get paid. Like your practice squad athlete for NFL, you get paid. You're professional. There's none of that for CrossFit. It's like you're professional if you can land a sponsorship through social media. And so I never got any of that, but I was doing it professionally, like full time, whole thing. So that's my background. Coached the whole time, personal training, did that whole number, and then just recently, I say recently, but over the past 3 or 4 years, I've stepped out of it. Still training really hard, but haven't been able to compete due to like some relational stuff going on with my now ex, and having a son who's 3 years old now, and just trying to build a career. So I stepped in construction for a bit. It's like a whole story there. But my background in fitness is really just competing in the professional fitness space, and now trying to share that with the world and really help people find a level of intensity that they didn't realize they could get to. And same to you, is like you can get a really nice physique without like destroying your body, without like suffering through nutrition and all that. Like you just gotta be consistent, you gotta train hard, you gotta do it the right way. So I'm just trying to help people do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think a lot of people hold themselves back just from like not doing the work because, like you mentioned, like suffering.
Yeah.
Like people look at it from that lens, and like truly, like you and I are out here talking about us going to the gym and eating foods that most people don't eat. Like, why is it that? Well, we just enjoy what we do. I think a lot of people, they just look at it from the lens of like, this sucks and it's hard, right?
Totally. Perspective. Their perspective is they just don't want to get uncomfortable. They've been comfortable their whole life, and they look at it as uncomfortable. They don't want to step into it. But I think it goes back to like what was Tristan was saying in his thing. It's like it's so much deeper than that. Like whether it's like from their trauma from their past, or they're like they just don't believe in themselves because someone lied to them and they decided to believe that, or they haven't been consistent, so they think that they just can't be consistent. Like they just have these like limiting beliefs going on in your head, just like you're saying. And so they look at it as like, oh, it's too hard. But it's too hard. It's like the surface level. It's like, it's not too hard. It's like you don't believe in yourself. It's like you don't really want it, or you don't actually think it's a problem, or someone told you can't do it, so you believe that. It's 100% just my mindset.
1000%. When we were out at the restaurant earlier having lunch, I sat with Braden and I think Justin, a couple other guys.
Yeah.
We were all talking about how like fitness carries over into everything, right? And like these people that we're getting on calls with that are, you know, overweight, or like clients that have struggled with their fitness aren't just struggling with their fitness, they're struggling with their relationships oftentimes, their mindset. And it's not just like us speculating, it's like they're saying that on the call.
Yeah.
Like they have addictions, they have these like vices. It's like you pointed out, like the mindset that shapes everything. And I think it's crazy that like people just, they think that like one thing doesn't carry over, and they don't take the risk on like becoming that person that they know they're capable of. And like, I don't know about you, but myself, I grew up listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos where they talked about like mindset and like you just gotta have a tough mindset. And I'm like, okay, that's all BS. And then like you actually get to a place where you're doing the things that you said you wanted to do, and you realize most of it was mindset. Like you have to do the work, but like most of it is like you just actually didn't believe in yourself and didn't take action.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I've changed my belief over the years about like, for a long time I believed that in order to change your life, you just needed to change, like the whole affirmations thing. Like if I just stare in the mirror all day long and say, I am about all this, things will just change. And to your point, I now believe, and I think I'm understanding that it's a coupling of changing the dialogue to change your mindset, right? But it's also action. So like I think just like what we just learned in there, it's like if you say I am gonna eat healthy and then you walk by donuts and you stuff 12 donuts on your face, it's like that's not congruent. So it's like change the dialogue, I am, replace the software, do that stuff, but then also couple it with the actions. And when you do that long enough, repetitively, all of a sudden like you just get to a place where you're like, holy smokes, like I'm actually doing this. Like, I'm eating clean, I'm working out, I'm doing all this stuff, I am this person. And so I've kind of shifted that over the years. Like now I believe it's you gotta take the actions alongside the dialogue. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
No, 1000%. I think Rohil said this once, or more than once. It's like volume plus consistency, and like people either just don't do one, or they don't do either. He also said like it's either a drama or a fear problem, and like that's when I joined this program, when I had either one of them, right? Like it was like if I don't have the drama problem, I have the fear problem, but like people either aren't taking the consistent action or they're not doing it for long enough.
yeah.
And I think that like most of that stems from like the mindset, the way to think about things. I think that like if you can like just shape it around like knowing that like you do have to balance both. It's almost like with the business, right? Like you have the front end and you have the back end, and like I look at it as like a seesaw, right? Like if one side starts to tip too much, then the other one starts to, you know, not perform as well. You have to make sure it's balanced. And I think like each and every time that I've been super big on that affirmations and mindset work, I know it's like, okay, like I'm just thinking about doing things that could be taking way more action.
Yeah.
And on the same time, like when I'm taking a bunch of action, sometimes I'm like, maybe let me just like step back and like make sure that I'm actually like thinking about doing things right with a strategy, efficiency,
Yeah.
especially with like building muscle, like the weight training stuff. Like if I'm in the gym 4 hours a day, 6 days a week, but I'm like putting a bunch of excessive stress on my joints and things, it's like, is that going to actually help me, or maybe should I take more of an efficient approach and then come on that? So like I talk about in some of my YouTube videos, like how I grew up in the gym. This is just like kind of some background on me. I grew up in the gym with, you know, just going to the gym every single day,
Yeah.
training hard, loved it, right? And literally like would be in the gym for like 2-3 hours a day, and then I started to realize like, okay, like I actually need to prevent myself from, like I want to be more efficient with it, so I need to learn more of the anatomy, the biomechanics, like how to do everything properly, more of the nutritional science and psychology. And then I realized like, okay, like if I just did both, because when I learned all that, I was training clients in person, so I kind of stepped away from training like as much. I was just doing things more efficiently, and then I transitioned to like, what if I just did both? Like I was super efficient all the time, and I was super consistent, doing way more work than the average person. Like, imagine the results I would yield.
Right.
And I think like having that balance is tough, but when you do it, like I think it's like that with any goal, like the mindset plus the action.
Yeah, it has to be 100%. Yeah, I'm all for that, man. Take the action, change the mindset.
I have this framework that I use for my coaching program. It's 6 pillars, and I'm I'm not gonna get into all the pillars, but I have this, you know, basically when I went through my nutrition coaching certs, it talks about like this pyramid in the sense where it's like, hey, the results you want are up here. Underneath that are the skills. You need the skills to get the results. In order to get the skills, you need the consistent habits. You probably see where I'm going with this. For the habits, you need those, you know, actions, and the actions stem from our thought patterns, our belief systems about ourselves, and it all stems from mindset. So like the way that we think about ourselves, like literally results in like the results we get. And
100%.
so for me, when I went through my nutrition coaching certs and everything, and I don't even like to say it as certs because really they don't teach you much, but one thing that stood out for me was like the conscious versus the unconscious, which some people call the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And how like the subconscious mind fires so many more neurons than the conscious mind does.
Dude, yes. Yeah.
And so like when I tapped into that, I started to realize like, okay, like a lot of the clients I was working with at the time were like concentric, they were trying to lose weight, and I talked with them and I'm like, well, why aren't you losing weight? Like, oh, well, you know, I'm at home eating all this junk food, right? Or I'm not going to the gym consistently. They were like cancel their sessions last minute. I'm like, why is this? It's like clearly it's not just like the, you know, problem. Like they know what to do, all the information's out there, but why are they still overweight? Why are they still not putting the muscle on, etc. And it was like a matter of like, it all stemmed from mindset. Like they didn't think of themselves as that individual. So I started to really dive deep into like the psychology of things with my coaching, and like that's something I'm so big on. It's like if you can think about yourself as that person. I think somebody touched on it earlier. It might have been Landon.
Yeah.
With like the things on his mirror. But like if you can think about that being that person, then he might have made the reference about the donuts or something.
I think
like,
so, yeah.
But like when you think of yourself as that person, then any action you take that misaligns with that is going to be incongruent, right? And I think a lot of times people think it's just the mindset mumbo jumbo, like even myself. But it's like when you realize like that's really what it is. But then using that mindset to be more efficient with taking way more action. Not just, I have friends personally like that I grew up with, and a lot of them are like way more on the mindset side of like just affirm and like you'll get the goals. And I'm like, all right, dude, like you still also have to do the work though.
You gotta do something.
So it's like you have to find that like balance, right?
Yeah.
Like how do you make it the most of each?
Yeah, I mean, Hormozy says it. Alex Hormozy, you follow him?
Yeah, big fan.
I think
Both of them actually. I might. Hopefully Alex is not watching this, no offense, but I think I like Layla more than Alex these days because she is way more directed to the point. Sometimes with like the things she says, they're so real.
Dude, Layla's a savage.
She's a delegate.
But yeah, he has a phrase. I think it's been talked about a lot, where he says like, you don't gain confidence by shouting affirmations in the mirror. Like you gain confidence by having an undeniable stack of proof that you are who you say you are.
1,000%.
And it's like, dang. And then it comes down to like, you gotta do the work. You gotta do it. And 100% mindset. Like there's an old Chinese proverb, or I don't know if it's Chinese or what it is, but it's a proverb.
I'll take your word for it. Whatever.
Where it says like, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. And it all stems back to thought, just like you said. So it's like, to your point, the base of the pyramid is thought, and that thought has to lead to action. Do something, even if it's wrong. Just like do something. Like you don't have to have the right workout plan. You don't have to have the right nutrition plan. Like just try something. It's like, I'm gonna go do burpees for 10 minutes. Okay, start there and just keep doing it, and eventually, like you will navigate toward a better plan, a better routine, or whatever. You'll establish the habits, and you will find yourself one day like, now I actually know what I'm doing working out. This is great, and I love it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I at 5:20, like I don't know, 20 minutes into Kyle speaking, which like I missed that portion. Wish I was in there, but I had a client call and I had to reschedule it for like it was supposed to be at 4 o'clock, and I was like, no, let's do 5:20. I thought we were gonna have a break for dinner, so I was like, it is what it is. I took the call, and we were talking, and he was like, hey, you know, I didn't follow through with everything I needed to follow through with this week, and I was like, well, like why not? And we went into like, oh, you know, I had a bunch of things come up, and I noticed that like some of the things he was telling me were like incongruent with the person he wanted to be.
Yeah.
And he was saying, you know, how, you know, it's just hard, like I don't have the time for it. And I was like, let's like reframe it. Like why not like create this positive reinforcement where like you look forward to the workouts, right? Like he's took a couple of years away from the gym, or wasn't really in a consistent routine with fitness for a couple of years, I should say. And now is getting back into it, and he's like, yeah, I just didn't have the time, whatever. Like I'm like, hey, we all have the time. Why didn't you? He's like, well, it's just tough. And I'm like, well, you can reframe it around like you told me when we first started working together, you know, the confidence you get, like the energy, how you're gonna feel after, and you can use that as fuel, you're gonna take way more action.
Yeah.
Like personally, like I think we're either running, towards pleasure or away from pain. And I think that at some point or another, it gets tough to, like you might need to switch to the other side, for example, right? Like for me, like if I'm, excuse my French, but like pissed off, hopefully that I don't get canceled on YouTube for that. But if I'm like pissed off or something and I'm going to the gym all the time, just like slamming a bunch of weights, there might be a time in my life where like life's a lot more enjoyable, and it's hard for me to lean into that pain so much to like still push myself through. And that's how with my fitness journey, I was like always scrawny, started to put weight on, I was like 120, 130. So we are back. We actually changed up the scenery because it was getting a little bit cold out there, and we lost, some of the video, but it's all good.
Yeah, we took a sponsor break.
Yeah, we had to rep the Child of God hats. Oh, you have yours on.
No, this is dead.
Go rep these hats. Child of God, a buddy of ours, distributes them if you're interested. But we were just talking about, our fitness and how oftentimes like the mindset is what holds people back. And we were talking about like the psychology of like why we make decisions, and like how a lot of times people don't achieve their goals because they don't believe in themselves. They don't, have the audacity to go after these things. Mm-hmm. And like for me, dude, like I've never been out here in Texas. Like, I just popped out, and to be honest, I wanted to come out here for a while, but I've never like traveled really. Mm-hmm. And so I just like last minute like got my flight, got my ticket, and like popped out here, and like it's just been like a cool experience. And like truly, I think it's like two things. Like one, like taking a risk, right, and just like doing things that you're not used to doing, because being able to connect with all you guys has been awesome. But also two, just like my faith and like feeling like the things that pop up in my life are like not just happening for a reason. Not to say some woo things going on, but like I truly think that like you start to make decisions, you start to cultivate the life you want by the way you think and the way you take actions, and then opportunities just show up, and then nothing's just gonna fall in your lap, but you can grab those opportunities. That's why I grabbed that freaking plane ticket and like the freaking ticket for this networking event, and now we're out here podcasting with this warm weather that's a lot warmer than that cold temp out there.
It's getting cold out there.
But like on the topic of faith, talk to me a little bit about your faith and like what got you into like your relationship with Christ and
I'll make it super quick. Grew up in a church. Going to church was never really real to me. Like I never had a relationship with Jesus until in college. I had a wild experience. I had a drug trip. I decided to smoke weed for the first time with my buddy. And the plan was like, we're gonna smoke weed, and then we're gonna eat cookout afterwards, like fast food, just chill. It would be a good experience. And it was not that. I smoked and I had an awful trip. Yeah, so I smoked weed, I tripped, and I was 100% convinced that I was like, where I was at in that moment was actually hell. And that led to, obviously, like I eventually came out of it. And for a while, like I struggled with PTSD from the experience. So I was like contemplating life and reality and like all these things. It was a really dark time, really, really dark time. And that was like a catalyst for me to obviously like want to seek Jesus, because it's like, I don't want to go back there. I want to go here. And that, I mean, that was a long time ago now, but it's been this like growing ebb and flow relationship since. But that was like a moment in time where like the Lord really was like, he kind of smacked me beside the face and was like, I was just so aware of death and the reality of hell. It was terrifying. So, yeah.
Dude, I think that's a like touching story. I think it's like oftentimes I don't think a lot of people, I had this thought earlier, I don't think a lot of people actually like find God when like times are great.
No.
Like I think some people grow up with a relationship, but I don't know if they ever truly tap into like a real relationship with him until they get to a dark time. And like, so like your story, like I can definitely see that, and like myself, same thing, dude. Like when times were tough, when like I wasn't becoming the person or being the person that I knew I should be, that's when like the Lord opened himself up to me, and really he was there the whole time. I just wasn't accepting or recepting of it, whatever the word is, accepting of it. But then when you start to, back to the mindset, like look for these opportunities, it just shows up and you're like, hey, like Jesus has been there the whole time and doesn't, leave you, forsake you, betray you, right? But I think that when you cultivate a relationship with him, as opposed to, like, for me at least, giving into like the vices, like the short-term pleasures, like not following through with the things that are important to me, when you kick all that and you attach your long-term vision to like, who is it the man that I want to be? Like, who do I want to become? Do I want to be the man that like says, these are the things that I care about, but does the opposite, or do I want to actually follow through with the actions that get me to the next level of my life? So like for me, like coming out to Dallas, don't mind me, I'm a little bit cold, kind of tripping over my words, but coming out to Dallas, like tapping into my fitness again, like taking my nutrition seriously, like cutting out all the junk food, like all stuff like that wasn't suiting me, and like going after the things that were helping me get to the next level of my life were, the moves I needed to make, and like the Lord, I think, just like helped push me in that direction because I seeked him. Like I was reading the Bible either last night or this morning. I read both times, but I forget where exactly in the Bible it was, but it talks about like seek me and like you'll find me. Like ask for it and you'll receive it. And like it's like when you actually ask for these things, like he just like gives them to you, but you can't just expect them to fall in your lap. You have to work for them. But I think that it's touching what like God can do in both of our lives, right?
Yeah, man, everything's happening for you. It's happening for you, not to you. And whether you chalk that up to just like spirituality or deism or Middle East, whatever, it's like there's a creator of the universe who created you with purpose, and he is actually working in and through you and people around you. And so things are happening for you, not to you.
Just use that, we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, cool. So I think when you can look at it from that perspective, and like you said, you start to see like God is really weaving a story in your life, whether you know it or not. And it's just at times he reveals himself more to make you aware of it, and it's just it's life changing. It really is. So
definitely, man. Opportunities just arise when you look for them, and
that's what I was gonna say. To your point, I was gonna say, luck. In my opinion, luck is when hard work and opportunity collide. Like you're working hard, you're moving towards something, and an opportunity comes, and it's just like,
and then you just grab it. It's right there in front of you.
Right place, right time. It's like, it's all luck is.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you guys watching, and anybody that wants to check out the Instagram pages, drop your IG.
Strain Forward Fitness.
And J Stroud Fit. If you guys want to check out some short form content, check us out there. It's been a pleasure, dude, talking fitness, faith, and really like everything Dallas. We really get to go super in depth in Dallas, but I think just like, I hope you guys got some value from that clip, and
I'm sorry my phone cut out.
See you in the next one. Yeah, we got cut off like 4 times. iPhones, tripods, and cold weather are not our fans today, but we made do, and it's been a dope experience, bro.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, bro. Okay. For sure. Peace.
That's pretty fresh.